Darkness had a new name, Voss. He was once one of us, a top agent, sharp, deadly. Now, he was a ghost in the machine, a traitor to everything we stood for. He moved with cold precision. His heart, if he had one left, pumped ice. Voss had turned his back on his country. He embraced a new destructive path. His skills were now a weapon against us. He planned to burn it all down. No remorse, no hesitation, just pure, calculated malice. He held the key to chaos. It was called Shadow Protocol, a digital plague, designed in secret, feared by all who knew its potential. This protocol was a phantom menace. It could erase an entire nation's intelligence network, every asset, every safe house, every secret, gone in an instant. The result would be catastrophic, agents exposed, operations crippled, the country left blind, vulnerable. This was Voss's endgame, total annihilation of our eyes and ears. The signal went out, a silent scream in the digital ether. Voss had activated Shadow Protocol. Deep within a secure server, a timer began its relentless countdown. 10 minutes. That was all it took. Zein lived in the shadows, a self-imposed exile. He was a phantom, erased from official records. Years ago they framed him, took his life, his career, his name. Betrayal cut deep. It left scars that never truly healed. He learned to survive on the fringes, trust no one, depend only on himself. The world thought he was gone. He preferred it that way. His past was a heavy chain, a constant reminder of what he lost. Then, the message came, a flicker on a burner phone, encrypted, untraceable, an old emergency channel, one he thought long dead, a voice from his past, gravelly, desperate, General Thorne, the man who signed off on his dismissal. Now, Thorne pleaded. The irony was not lost on Zein. The call was short, to the point, the nation was on the brink, they needed him urgently. Thorne's voice trembled with fear. He spoke of Shadow Protocol, of Voss. The name hit Zein like a punch to the gut. Voss, his former partner, the man who likely set him up. The agency was desperate, their best couldn't stop Voss. To face Voss, Zein needed backup, not from the agency, he couldn't trust them. He needed someone outside, someone like him. Raya came to mind. She was a brilliant operative, smart, resourceful, deadly. The agency had sidelined her too, called her reckless, too independent. Zein knew her true worth, she was a fighter, a survivor. If anyone could navigate this mess with him, it was Raya. He sent a coded signal, an old, forgotten frequency. The meeting point was an abandoned metro station, deep beneath the city, cold, damp, the air thick with the smell of decay and secrets. Water dripped from cracked ceilings. Rats scurried in the darkness. It was a place for ghosts, suited them perfectly. Zein waited in the shadows of a derelict train car. Every sound echoed, every shadow danced. He was alert, ready for anything. Trust was a luxury he couldn't afford, not yet. He cut to the chase, explained the situation. Voss, S1. Media group, close-up of serious man, man looking intense at it, stock at it, distribute underscore equally. Zein, it's been a long time. Voss had chosen his lair well, a decommissioned broadcast tower, a concrete and steel needle scraping the sky. It was a modern fortress, bristling with security, cameras, motion sensors, pressure plates, elite guards loyal only to Voss and his twisted cause. Getting in would be hell. Getting out? That was a problem for later. Right now the clock was ticking. Shadow Protocol was counting down. Every second wasted brought them closer to disaster. They had less than 8 minutes. Zein and Raya studied the schematics, old blueprints, agency intel. They formulated a plan, risky, audacious, but it was their only shot. They would go in through the old service tunnels. A blind spot, hopefully. Silence was key. Precision was paramount. One mistake and the entire operation would collapse. One wrong step and they were dead. Or worse, Voss would succeed. The weight of the world felt like it was on their shoulders. Zein moved first, a shadow among shadows. He flowed through the service tunnels, air thick with dust, the only sound his own controlled breathing. He disabled the first set of cameras, bypassed a laser grid. His movements were economical, practiced. Zein had made it inside the main structure. He moved fast, taking out guards silently, efficiently. But Voss was no fool. He had anticipated resistance. Suddenly alarms shrieked, red lights pulsed, compromised. Someone, somewhere had seen something. Or Voss had a dead man's switch. No time to think, no time for stealth now. He had to reach the control room, fast. The countdown was relentless. Under 5 minutes. Guards swarmed the corridors, armed, aggressive. Zein fought his way through, a blur of motion, fists, feet, an improvised weapon. He was outnumbered but not outmatched. He moved with brutal grace, each takedown swift. He heard Raya on comms. She was dealing with her own share of trouble, creating a diversion, buying him precious seconds. He burst through a final door, not the control room, but a stairwell, leading up. Only one way to go. He pounded up the stairs, taking them 3 at a time. The sounds of pursuit echoed from below. He reached the top, a heavy steel door. He kicked it open, and found himself on the rooftop. The wind hit him like a physical blow, cold, fierce. Zein found Voss in the central control hub. It was a nest of wires and glowing screens. The primary console displayed the Shadow Protocol countdown, 2 minutes. Voss stood there, smug and arrogant. Dressed impeccably, as if for a corporate meeting, not the end of the nation's intelligence. He turned slowly, a cold smile playing on his lips.
Zein, I wondered if they'd be desperate enough to send you. The ghost of failure's past.
Voss taunted him, speaking of the old days, of the betrayal. He tried to get under Zein's skin.
You were always too sentimental, Zein. Too loyal to a system that discards its tools.
Zein ignored the barbs. His focus was singular. Stop the protocol. Stop Voss. It's over, Voss.
Not yet. This is a new beginning, a cleansing.
Words were done. Action was all that remained. The fight exploded. It was brutal, primal. Voss was skilled, fast. He matched Zein move for move. They crashed through equipment. Sparks flew. The room became a battleground. Every strike was meant to cripple, to end it. This wasn't just a fight between two men. It was a fight for the future, for the soul of their shared past. Zein landed a heavy blow. Zein saw his chance. A split second. Voss overextended. Zein ducked under a wild swing. He lunged for the main server rack. He had the counter virus, a custom-built injectable device. Raya had procured it, their only weapon against Shadow Protocol. He needed to plug it directly into the core system. 30 seconds on the clock. The air crackled with tension. The fate of the network hung precariously in the balance. This was their only shot. Voss roared. He knew what Zein was trying to do. He launched himself at Zein, tackled him away from the console. They crashed to the floor. Voss was a man possessed, fighting with renewed ferocity. Zein felt his strength waning, the blood loss, the sheer exhaustion. But he couldn't give up. He thought of the lives at stake, the chaos Voss would unleash. He found a reserve of strength, deep within. He slammed his elbow into Voss's face, pushed him back. He scrambled to his feet. The injector device clutched in his hand. Voss was getting up. Zein had mere seconds. He reached the server, fumbled for the port. His hands were slick with sweat and blood. Voss lunged again. Zein pivoted, blocked the attack, and with a final desperate surge of energy, he slammed the injector into the port. He pressed the activation stud. A small green light blinked on the device. The virus was uploading. Voss sank to his knees, defeated, his grand plan in ruins. The maniacal gleam in his eyes faded, replaced by a hollow emptiness. Zein stood over him, exhausted, battered, but victorious. The immediate threat was neutralized. Shadow Protocol was dead. He leaned against the console, the adrenaline began to wear off, pain flared in his side. He had stopped a catastrophe, but the cost was high. He could feel it in every aching muscle.
You did it?
She quickly secured Voss. Agency sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Backup was finally arriving, late as usual. They would take Voss away, try to piece together his network, his motives. The damage assessment would begin. Some systems had been briefly compromised before the reversal. Scars would remain on the network. Zein looked around the trashed control room. Broken glass, smashed equipment, the physical evidence of their desperate struggle. He had saved the agency, the country. But what did it mean for him? He was still a ghost. General Thorne himself approached Zein. He offered a full reinstatement. A pardon. His name cleared. They wanted to make him a hero, put him back in the field, officially. It was everything Zein had once wanted, before the betrayal, before he learned the true face of the system he served. Now the offer felt complicated. A part of him yearned for that life, for the sense of purpose. But the wounds were deep. He looked at Thorne, at the other agency faces. He saw their relief, their gratitude. But he also saw the calculation in their eyes. They needed him. He was an asset again. But could he trust them not to discard him when it suited them? The system that broke him once could do it again. The scars on his soul were a constant reminder. He had walked through fire for them, but he would not be burned again. He needed time, space. Zein made his choice. He declined Thorne's offer. For now, he would return to the shadows, his own terms, his own way. He needed to heal, not just his physical wounds, but the deeper ones, the ones no one could see. The world was still a dangerous place. Voss was one threat.